testing about utilizing and reporting of test result. This would comprise week 13, 14, and 15. So, learning objectives after 45 minutes of participant-reporter interaction, participants will be able to, number one, discuss uses of grades and grading system. Number two, compare the three philosophical views relative to grading. Number three, choose and defend philosophy, which they will adhere to. Number four, distinguish between norm reference and criterion reference grading. Number five, reflect on their own scores and grades in the different subject. Six, make resolution to what to do to improve their learning. Seven, describe and defend the grading marking system that they would use in their respective areas. Eight, justify the need to report grades to parents and other stakeholders. Nine, explain the challenges inherent in conferencing with parents. So, according to Cohen of 1983, grading in education is a process of applying standardized measurement of varying levels of achievement in a course. So Cohen of 1983 also emphasized that grades can be assigned in letters. For example, A, B, C, D, E, or F as a range, for example, 1 to 6 as a percentage of the total number which is correct, as a total out of a possible total, which say for example 20, or out of 20 out of 100, or as descriptors, excellent, great, satisfactory, and needs improvement. So Gusky of 2002, in some countries, all grades from all the current classes are averaged to create a grading point average of GPA. For the marking period, the GPA is calculated by taking the number of grade points to students earned by a given period of time divided by the total number of credits that are being taken. So, Gusky of 2002 was able to mention about international grading. So, most nations have individual grading systems, which are unique to their own school. However, several international standards for grading have also arisen recently. And the academic grading here in the Philippines, Guzman Santos in 2007 was able to inform that the educational system of the Philippines was partnered actually with both educational system between Spain and the United States. However, after the liberation of the Philippines in 1946, the system changed radically. Here is a very good example of grading basis. As you can see, there are three columns. First column is a letter grade from A to D, that's with positive and negative sign. Second column is numerical grade, which is the basis of the interval as to what particular grade is the letter grade is indicated, and the normal value, or the numerical value rather, which is stated on the third column. We also have some legends that if it is I, it says incomplete. S for satisfactory achievement, U is for unsatisfactory achievement, and X for incomplete in a pass or fail course. Then you also have to transmit raw scores, steps for computing grades. So get the total score of each component. Divide the total raw score by the highest possible score. Then you have to multiply with the quotient by 100. You also have to convert it into percentage scores to weighted scores. And you add the weighted scores for each component. You have to transmute the initial grading using the transmutation table. And talking about transmutation table, this is an essential tool for assessment of students' performance, where in particular score called raw score of a certain student, his or her output is being assigned into a percentage grade. So grading system, as you can see with the grading scale, from A to F, actually that was being noted here with the example, that is A 100 to 93 to 100, A negative 90 to 92, B positive 87 to 89, B is 83 to 86, B negative 80 to 82, C positive 77 to 79, C 73 to 76, C negative 70 to 72, D positive 67 to 69, D 63 to 66, and D negative 60 to 62. And below that is letter F for 60. Carey of 2012 was able to emphasize the importance of grading system. And its primary purpose of grading system is to clearly and accurately even consistently fairly communicate learning progress and achievement of students, families, post-secondary institution, and prospective employers. Here in the Department of Education, as you can see in the picture, it administers the entire educational system, especially the curriculum, along with the utilization of given funds of the school services, as well as the recruitment of teachers for actually public schools only. No, and the former educational system in the Philippines was composed of 6 years of elementary education, starting at the age of 6, and 4 years of high school education, starting from the age of 12. With this system, compulsory education is not actually enforced. And Guzman Santos of 2007, however, was able to give a signal of 2011 that it's already the start of the implementation of the new educational system, which is the K-12 educational system, which includes the new curricula for all schools. So in 2010s and the K-12 program, this system education will be now compulsory. And also, all public and private schools here in the Philippines must start classes from the date mandated by the Department of Education, usually every first Monday in June for public schools only, and must end after each school completes the mandated 200-day school calendar of DepEd. So usually around the third week of March to the second week of April. So talking about philosophy, according to Guzman Santos in 2017, one of the philosophy of the educational system here in the Philippines is its purpose of any system of reporting to parents and its trend to home-based partnership and to inform parents concerning students' progress. The degree to which parents are informed of the philosophy of the school system and its program and the assessment of students' strengths and weaknesses and is important in establishing a positive attitude towards school and a competitive relationship between school and home. Assessment should also have a straightforward with teachers' judgment based on the objective data. And K6 progress reports reflect the instructional level of student progress. Reports should also be communicated in terms of how it should be understood by those involved. The main objective of an elementary progress report is to communicate to parents with students know and are able to do. Fairfax Country of Public School takes the mission in a very serious and is committed to providing the best possible information for the parents. Research shows that student success is highly correlated with parent involved in school progress. And on philosophy, according to Carey of 2012, which is the grading is the arts. When it comes to grading in the arts, Carey ran into similar situation. Grading arts is so subjective, even with the rubrics in the world. There's still lens by which we view art conscientiously. So developing a grading and reporting system, as you can see, what Guzman Santos of 2007 was able to introduce, that grading and reporting system are guided by the functions to be served by such in the educative process. The system will most probably be a compromise because of the host of the factor to be considered in the preparation of such, and we should also keep achievement reports separate from efforts being expended. And Guzman Santos also added, ideally, grading and reporting systems should be developed cooperatively. This should be with parents, students, and school personnel or administration. And all of them should always be based on clear statement of learning objectives. That means to say that the grading and reporting system needs to be based on the same set of learning objective that the parent and teachers and students agreed at the very beginning. There should also be consistency with school standards. So the system must support the school standard rather than oppose the school standards, which is already set, and based on adequate assessment as well. So if grading and reporting system should be easily verifiable through adequate system of testing, measurement, and assessing methods that should be based. And it should also be based on the right level of detail. So the system must be detailed through diagnostic, but compact enough to be practical, not too time consuming to prepare and use, understandable to users, and easily summarized for school record purposes. So grading and reporting, the main aim of grading and reporting system is to provide result in brief, understandable form of varied user, which would lead to several big questions. So what should I account? What should I interpret to my student score? Do I compare it to other students' score? That's actually a norm reference. What should be my distribution of scores be? How do I display student progress and weakness too? Are students and their parents able to know this? And the answer to that question may be obtained from number one, school maybe have some policies or guidelines. Number two, consulting your colleague and then applying some of your good judgment. And number three, learning from first-hand experience. So is it is therefore important relevant to know the process of giving grades and report to the students and parents and also to the stakeholders in the system. So according to Carifio 2012, measurement and assessment of learning are the first two stages in educational evaluation. First is grading and reporting are two terminal stages in the process. At the same time, measurements are simply numerical aids which guide our decisions in the educative process. We also have guidelines for creating an effective grading system. We happen to know that you have to keep your eyes on the prize and we communicate with our values, with our values with grades. So it's also very effective in grading system to foster communication. Grades should reflect a non-judgmental posture, intentional precision, the use the use points only when necessary, and no surprises. Find a balance that works for you and valuing the learning process as well. So function of grading and reporting. So we could also enhance students' learning. This is to make sure that there is clarifying of instruction objectives for them, showing students' strengths and weaknesses, provided information on personal and social development, and indicate where teaching might be modified. This could also be achieved through day-to-day tests, feedback, and integrated periodic tests. So types of grading and reporting system according to Carithio 2007, traditional system. So students' performance are summarized in means of letter. This A stands for excellence, B stands for being good, C for average, D for improvement, and F for failure. And you also have the pass-fail type. So this system utilizes dichotomous grade system. I also have checklist of objective. This system is very detailed and consuming when prepared levels of achievement arranged respectively. And it should be outstanding, very good, good, fair, and poor. Letters to parents and guardians. These are useful supplements to grade and are very time consuming when prepared and can be misinterpreted sometimes. Add on or your portfolio. It's a set of purposely selected works with commentary by students and teacher. It also shows the weakness and strength and progress of the learner. And letter F is parent-teacher conference. This requires the parents of pupil come for conference with a teacher to discuss with the student's progress. So we need also to develop of grading and reporting system. So when you say grading and reporting system, it should be developed cooperatively. And parents, students, school personnels are the one who are always involved in order to ensure development for more adequate systems. So guidelines in developing grading and reporting system. So first, base it on clear statements of learning objectives. You also have to be consistent with the school standard and base it with adequate assessment. Base it with right level of detail and provide a teacher conference as needed. So assigning letter grades and computing grades. So according to CARIB 2012, grades assigned to students must include only achievement. It is very important to avoid temptation to include effort for less able students because it's difficult to distinguish ability from achievement and efforts are combined in some way. And grades would mean different things for different individuals as well, or different students. Excuse. Grades reflected in report cards are also numbers of numerical quantities arrived after several data on students' performance are being combined. So the following guidelines may be considered in combining such data. So number one, the weights used are normally agreed upon the school officials. Say, for example, how many percent goes for quiz? How many points would have for the unit test, periodic test, and etc. The most scientific approach is to use a principal component analysis, which is hardly practiced in school because of the difficulty involved. O'Connor of 2012 was able to state resolution on what to do to improve student learning. First, having compassion and empathy. We teachers and educators should always consider that we have to enjoy working with students as as how it is being shown. And this is a positive influence in the learning of the students. Students should also feel respected and appreciated, are more willing to cooperate, and are very motivated to learn. And creating a secure and dependable structure. So student responds well to the security of the structured routine. Teachers who give thought to the establishment of a developmentally appropriate classroom structure create a strong foundation for a student learning to occur. And we also have resolution on what to do to improve student learning. So O'Connor of 2012 also added embedding strategy instruction, which we have to help students build usable skills. Teachers embed strategy instruction in content area learning. These includes note-taking, studying, test-taking strategies. Then when learned and applied in context, students are readily adopt strategies they can use again and again. And also building collaborative relationship. It's very important that learning with and from other students build communication and social skills, along with content knowledge. Modeling collaborative skills and monitoring group behavior allow teachers to guide and influence their powerful form of active learning. And these skills will also prove valuable outside the classroom in future relationship and career. So justifying the need to report grades to parents and other stakeholders. So O'Connor was able to add up that reporting is a process used to communicate knowledge gained from assessing student learning. The purpose of reporting is to provide relevant information about student progress to student parents, support staff, and other teachers. The purpose of report grading is to communicate to the students' achievement to families. You also have the post-secondary institution and the employers. This system must above all communicate clear information about the skills of the student and also have mastered areas in which they were able to get support or practice. So what are the challenges inherent in conferencing with parents? First is lack of parent education to help with the schoolwork. Second, cultural or socioeconomic differences between the parents as well as with the school management. We also have the language differences between parents and staff, parents' attitude about school, staff attitude towards parents, and concern about safety in the area after school hours. These challenges could somehow be given some important value in which we could look into. We might be able to consider some options as to how these challenges would be addressed. It's very important that the management will be able to talk to all the downlines in the institution in order for them to come up with certain specific programs in which conferencing with parents would be easier and could foster collaboration and communication between two parties. So I think that ends with my report, Doc, and here are some of my references in which I was able to get most of the data of reporting. Have a great day and thank you so much for listening.